Welcome to episode 93 of the DX Mentor, a discussion with Robin Amundson, WA7 Charlie Papa Alpha, about the Echo 51 Mike Whiskey Alpha DXpedition to Manihiki in the North Cook Islands. If this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. We have a back catalog covering many aspects of DX in both podcast and YouTube format. Please check us out. If you like what you find, please subscribe to always be notified about upcoming events. I received a great comment about the Fox Whiskey 5 Kilo DXpedition to Wallis and Futuna Islands. This is from @Rick Bamsberger 1721. What a great interview debriefing of this DXpedition team. The average DXer, me, has little concept of the complexity of one of these missions and the variables outside of one's control. Who would have guessed the single sideband contest would have a negative effect on QSO counts? Kudos for getting these warriors together for us to learn from. End quote. Thanks for that great comment, Rick. Please send us comments or questions to TheDXMentor@gmail.com. Now, let's hear about this DXpedition. Well, hello and welcome to the most recent DX Mentor podcast. I'm Bill, AJ8B, and Joe and I are really excited tonight. I know you hear us say that every week, but we really mean it tonight. We are pumped and we want to learn, and we're going to do that. I'm going to read from the webpage so that you know exactly what we're talking about. I find this better than me trying to describe it. Quote, a team of Western Washington DX Club amateur radio operators will activate Manihiki in the North Cook Islands October 9th to the 20th, 2025 as E51 Mike Whiskey Alpha. Now, I know that that is a few months in the past, and sometimes we like to get ahead of time. I think you'll find this fascinating after the fact. I'm really curious and I want to learn a lot. And boy, we've got somebody here who's extremely good behind the microphone, and she's just going to educate the heck out of us. But first, as always, we got Joe, WAGEX. Introduce yourself, Joe.
Well, thanks, Bill, and welcome to the podcast, Robin. I got started when I was a teenager as an SWL and came up through the ranks and passed all the tests, thank God, and got hooked on DXing and been doing it ever since. And I'm on the radio every day. I absolutely love ham radio. Even when I was working, and I was a boss man, but I had a complete station in my office. So I've always been hooked on ham radio. So how'd you get started, Robin?
Oh, thanks for asking, Joe. I actually had my first exposure in the crib, sharing a bedroom with my older brother, 7 years older. He was a young ham. And later on, when he went off to UC Berkeley and was going to have a radio station there, I wanted to get my license. Our father knew the code from being an airman in World War II, although he was never a ham. He learned it from my mother's father, who was his teacher in radio school.
Wow.
So he got me started with the code. I passed. I was a novice. I enjoyed getting on the air, doing some rag chews with my novice privileges. And then finally, I got to use my brother's station while he was away at Berkeley, and I enjoyed our skeds.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And we should introduce you. It's Robin WA7 CPA. I should have said that up front. So you went from having your skeds and rag chewing and just kind of kicking around on the radio and having fun. What kind of piqued your interest into chasing DX?
Well, as I grew up, I left the hobby. My license expired. It wasn't until I visited the Spark Museum in Bellingham, Washington. They had an entire third floor filled with old radios. And it was the smell of the old vacuum tubes that excited me and made me realize that I was missing my old hobby. And there was an old Heath kit similar to what we had when I was growing up. So I went and studied and got my license and realized as an adult that I needed to meet people and have connections. I had no mentors when I was a child. It was all on my own. I didn't know about clubs. So I joined a bunch of clubs, met a lot of helpful, kind hams who helped put wires up in the air for me, bought my first KX3, and it was just through meeting and talking to people and learning what the hobby had become since the 1970s. This was 2017, 2018, that I settled on DXing. I mean, how exciting is that?
We had NA2AA Dave Minster on, and he tells a great analogy about what's nice about ham radio. It's like if he somehow woke up and he was in Czechoslovakia, I guess that wouldn't be Czechoslovakia now, let's say Croatia, and he was just walking down the street and he's lost and he sees a guy with a vertical in the side yard. He could go up and knock on the door and say, "Hey, I see you have a vertical here," and they instantly have this bond, and they would do whatever they could to help each other out. And I think that's so true. Well,
Yeah.
there's a big difference between sitting and working DX and suddenly deciding to be the DX. So, what DXpeditions have you been on, and when did you make that jump?
Well, there have been three, all with my good friends on the Western Washington DX Club. Many of us are actually board members. The reason I got involved was because I'm a friend of the well-known Robert Fan N7QT, who's done about 24 DXpeditions now. He decided he wanted to start as friends, give us all an opportunity. So we started with Palau as Tango 88 Whiskey Alpha. We were on Babbledab Island, which wasn't the original plan. I have a lot of interesting stories, more than I could tell here, but we had a fantastic time experiencing wind, water, and illness with a typhoon that blew us out for a while, and I got COVID, and that was fun. And then we did, that was 2022, 2023. We did Solomon Islands on Guadalcanal, and that was another fantastic experience. And of course, this third one to Echo 51 Mike Whiskey Alpha on Manihiki Atoll in the North Cook Islands.
So you must enjoy it. You must really enjoy it. What do you like most? Do you like working the pileups? You like the camaraderie? You like the sense of accomplishment?
Well, all of that, of course, plays into it, but I mean, there's nothing like working a CW pileup on a DXpedition. I just absolutely love it. And of course, I've had the great good fortune of learning pileup management skills from Rob and 7QT. And every time we go out, I try to, improve my skills in that way. I do enjoy a little bit of SSB, but I'm known for losing my voice quickly. And so it's a really good thing that I kept up my CW skills since childhood. And then, of course, I've worked really hard to improve.
Yeah. So one of the things I really enjoy about the stories is how there's a lot of historic hooks and there's a lot of local hooks where you're helping people. Joe, what was your experience on Midway? Because you went over and you guys had like a ceremony, right, with the 80 folks that had been killed in the war and
That was on Wake Island.
or Wake. I'm sorry, I said
Yeah,
Midway.
yeah, the Forgotten 97. So these 97 contractors were murdered by the Japanese during the war, and so that's the reason that we was able to get onto Wake because we wanted to go there and bring this back up. And it took us 2 years to plan that trip. It was not a easy place to get permission to get to. So
Wow.
tell us about Cook Island. How did you choose that island?
Well, Rob had done a DXpedition on Manihiki 10 years before, 2015, and loved it and made good friends with Cora, who was our host, and one of the most delightful and wonderful human beings, quite frankly, that I've ever met. So I could recommend this to any other hams that are thinking of the North Cooks. So it was number 68 on the Club Log Most Wanted. And of course, it was very wanted in Europe, which was our goal, which, we had an unfortunate ending, but we still had great fun.
Wow. Wow. So Tell us about the team that went to North Cook. When I think of North Cook, I think of Captain Cook and pirates and mutiny on the high seas, and et cetera. But I assume your team was a little more sedate than that. So
Well, we can have fun. We can
yeah.
definitely have fun. Well, you have the South Cook and the North Cooks, and you have to fly into Rarotonga on the South Cooks, and then you take a little seven-passenger plane about 3 hours up to the North Cooks, which is much more remote, landing on a coral airstrip. We had 6 members of this team. I mean, we have other members that haven't always been able to go, but they're in the background supporting us. Unfortunately, this time, 2 of our team, for personal reasons, couldn't come, so they supported us as remote operators. We have Rob, who is N7QT, who is just an amazing connector. He meets people all over the world. He's good at connecting people. He's good at resourcing, and he's indispensable. Without him, we wouldn't have ever formed a team or be going. So the rest of us are very, very lucky to know him and be friends. We have Jack and 7JP. We call him Jack Power and Light because he can build connectors for all sorts of generators that we weren't expecting to use. He's a hard worker out in the field. He builds our cabling. He works on planning our antenna field by satellite. He's just fantastic. Unfortunately, on this project, he was one who stayed home supporting us remotely, and we greatly missed him. We have Brian and 9ADG, who wears many hats in the hobby. He is a developer, a WSJTX developer, FT8, and he is our networking guru. He brings our Starlink. He gets us going with Club Log Livestream, but he also is debugging FT8 and on Guadalcanal. He did a lot of coding, debugging, and so it's just incredible to have all these smart guys to be around. James KC7 EFP is a fantastic SSB operator. He's in the club. I did PJ2T with him in 2022 and knew that he would be great. Unfortunately, because of work, James had to stay behind, but he did support us again. We added Violetta, KN2P, 21 years old, and a licensed pilot and instructor who came with us on her first DXpedition.
Wow.
And I consider her to be a phenom on the mic. And we were glad to have her. She's willing to work, and she's going to be great. We're just really happy that, we've kind of helped get started another young person in this hobby. I would like to also mention Justin K5EM, who is part of our team. He was not on the team roster, but he works for us behind the scenes on technical matters. We have a really great complementary team because I'm not a technical person, but I handle our logistics, our business, our financial, and then we have the other guys that plan the antennas. What are we bringing for the situation? I do keep our inventory and pack and all of that, but it just works out great. Nobody worries about what anybody's doing. We all just get in there and do it.
Well, good for you. And none of those roles are minuscule. So it sounds like you're all just pulling in the same direction. That's terrific because more I've talked to Joe, it's just is not easy. And you're so far away from home. If you've made a mistake, you're up a creek without a paddle. So Joe, did you have a comment?
Well, no, the question, how long were you active, Robin?
Well, on Echo 51, we were planning to be active the full, we were there 14 days, take a couple of days to set up. We were planning about 12 days. But as you and many others know, we had a sudden QRT with a major fire. So we were active about 4.5 days.
Wow. But before
Geez.
the fire, you had a series of issues, right? You had a power strip that went south on you and a K3 that died and a number of things.
So think about this. We brought 11 antennas and we had four bodies. Now, I'm inside the shack unpacking, setting up and wiring the stations. Three of them only are outside for that day setting up. Rob is doing the build out on the antennas, and Brian and Violetta are setting coax runs, filling bags, and guying. So think about this, four people, 11 antennas in that environment. This Most of the antennas were up, and then the next day a big storm came through, knocked one down, took us, we had a power outage for about 13 hours. So we just decided we'd all get out there and finish putting up the field, which is what we did. So that was one hurdle. And then, yes, we did have a little incident on a Chinese power strip, but we had brought quite a few redundant items. That wasn't a problem. I'm glad I wasn't in the shack because I'm not good with fire, but the guys handled it and replaced it. Then our 4 Oscar 3 Alpha, two of our bandpass filters for 12 and 17 went out, a few days in, which was very, very unfortunate because 12 and 17 were going to be really important bands for us. We could not use those bands and have another radio on the air. So we had to pretty much stay away from those bands. Then my K3S went deaf, and maybe it was because something happened with the bandpass filters. I don't know. That was definitely taking down our productivity. And what can you do?
Yeah, no. The generator fire wasn't just an inconvenience for you, though, right?
Right. So our QTH was not too far from the solar plant, which was on one side of the path. There's no roads on the island. It's not paved. There's no cars. It's a really big solar generator, a solar panel field, which was not harmed at all. So power could still get in, but there was no way to distribute it after the fire. The building was just across this road, which was our road where how we would walk 30 minutes to the village or take a motorbike. And there was probably a fuel leak. There had been some maintenance, with that storm and that power outage. We don't really know what happened, but there was the guy came and left, and then the fire started about 5 a.m. It just was a lot of fuel, and so it really destroyed everything, and including coconut trees.
Wow.
Really?
So we were off the air. It was a big deal. Cook Islands, it was national news. The prime minister even got involved. And it was a big deal. But the guys the next day went around to the villagers to see if they could help them get their old personal generators going. But they had all rusted, fallen into disrepair with no spare parts. And so that wasn't a possibility. But they have been restored since. There were some technicians arriving as we were leaving at the 2-week mark.
Wow. So what did you do the last 5 or 6 days? Just, I guess you had to hang out, right? Because your flights are set and everything else is set and
Oh boy, did we have fun. So the thing is, DXpeditions are normally all work 24/7.
Yeah.
You got to put up with, all kinds of discomfort. You're not sleeping enough. People think you're vacationing, you're not. But Summer camp was declared, and this was the first one we had fun. And I mean, really, really just real fun and great adventures. Cora, our wonderful host, felt really bad that this had happened to us. Of course, we felt bad for the villagers.
Sure.
Um, but he took us out on his little aluminum boat to out into the middle of the lagoon, and we jumped off into the water and saw where his black pearl farm was. We saw a chaplet where the giant oysters hung and grew their pearls. We were encouraged to try to bring one up, got one up onto the boat with the help of his man None, and went motored to his motu, which is a small islet in the middle of the lagoon. We got to learn how the pearls are extracted from the oysters without killing the oysters, and we
Ah,
had a wonderful time.
Ah,
Uh, we also attended two church services. It's a very religious community. It's Maori people, a Christian church, beautiful, beautiful singing. And we got to attend a 60th birthday party. And with three generations, it was just an incredible social and cultural experience. And the final really amazing thing we did was go out at night onto the ocean in a smaller two passenger aluminum boat to go what Cora claimed was going to be fly fishing. No, he didn't want us to know what we were really going to do. We went out because he says, "Oh, don't worry, it'll only be 15 minutes." And I'm like, "Fly fishing 15 minutes? Not quite."
yeah.
He took us out fishing for flying fish.
oh,
His man Nane was at the bow of the ship with a helmet on with a searchlight. Cora was in the back with the outboard motor, and Nane would make his searchlight go back and forth, which brought thousands of flying fish out of the water.
Really?
And we would be steering this way and that. Now, this isn't the United States. There's no safety vest. There's no seat belt. You're just hanging on for dear life. Wow. Cora said there were about 300 black-tipped sharks in the water following us fishing because they could see the lights and they could see the fish. So we could watch them grab the fish, and occasionally one would bang against the boat right where I was sitting. Nane, with this big long net, would scoop the fish up, throw them in the back, and I was in the second round of the boat. By the time I got in, my feet were in a pile of wiggling, squirming, flying fish.
oh my gosh.
So it was just it was like a Disneyland e-ticket ride. It was very fun and very exciting.
Yeah.
That's certainly nothing you would have experienced if the other stuff wouldn't happen. Wow.
Serendipity, what can I say?
Yeah, and what's nice is that it sounds like you all basically said, you know what, let's accept it and let's enjoy it and learn from it. I think other people might have had an opportunity maybe to pout or poor us or look what we did, and that's great. That's really great. But before all of that happened, or even what were your logistics like? Where were you staying? What were you eating? And how were the meals taken care of?
Well, I can talk about that, but would you like me to back up about how we got ourselves and our equipment there?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're always interested in
So,
logistics.
Yes.
so last spring, as you remember, we started tariffs and things got very dicey, getting anything moved anywhere, and the rules were changing. It was a full-time job trying to find a logistics company. Basically, the rules had changed. Nobody actually wanted to handle uh, what we were an unknown shipper, nor did they even have the license. It was scary for them. So, because of our connector, Rob and 7QT, and his friendships with the guys at Step IR, they very kindly agreed to be our known shipper, and they facilitated that hooked us up with Maersk. All our paperwork, I did the bulk of creating the paperwork. It was a full-time job last spring. Was through Maersk using Step IR. Our stuff, we brought our stuff to the loading dock near Seattle, trucked to Vancouver, flown to Rarotonga, put on a boat where our kind host Cora, who knows everybody and kind of greased the way with customs and the logistics company there, because the whole thing was dicey. He got it on the boat. It got to Manihiki and he took it and had it ready for us. And it's a temporary import, so it's quite a tricky thing. We had to put up about a $4,000 bond. And then you're always nervous that if you miss anything coming back, they're going to hold it. We did get our bond recently. So getting us there, we all sort of converged by different airlines on Rarotonga. We have to pick up the license there, which actually Rob and I did. And of course, the licensing authority was a cousin of Cora, who as he would be driving us around the island, going by the police station, well, that guy was a cousin too. Everybody was a cousin.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So we got on this little Air Rarotonga flight, 7 passengers. There's no TSA. It's the most wonderful way. You don't even have to show them a ticket. Cora just says, "These are my people." We get let on. We walk onto the tarmac, ascend the stairs. We're sitting there on the plane, looking at the pilots, and this was just heaven for Violetta, the pilot, who had recently gotten her twin engine rating. She's getting to look at the pilots. We can look out the windshield. She got to know them a bit, and so it was fun. Landing for refueling on a little island called Aitutaki, and then going on about a 3-hour flight all the way, landing on a coral airstrip to the International Air Terminal at Manihiki, which is just kind of like a little open air hut. The villagers come when a plane lands every 2 weeks, and a prayer service is said of thanks that we arrived safely and for the safe flights of whoever's getting on the plane when it leaves.
Wow.
And we get flowers, and then we walked over to the lagoon. We were our luggage and ourselves loaded onto a little canoe, not a canoe, a motorboat, aluminum boat, and it's a big lagoon, and we had a beautiful ride across to see our QTH, our bungalows, and our new home for 2 weeks.
Wow. So what about your food?
Okay. So Cora provided for us. It was mostly a lot of raw fish, a lot of raw tuna. That's their staple food. When the weather's good, they go out into the ocean and catch tuna. When the weather is bad and they can't safely go out, they get milkfish. We actually got to go milk fishing at a spot where there's an inlet from the ocean. It's a reef fishing situation. He had us get in the water. It's about knee high, and walk towards the incoming schools of milkfish. Our walking turned them around, and they went into the nets that None had set. Then we had to pluck them out of the nets into buckets, motorbike them to the villagers to a little fishing hole, and the villagers know at a certain time of night to come and get their milkfish. Somebody's going to be fishing. It's a very collective way of feeding the village, and they eat them raw. We didn't. They'll be swimming there and just eating them raw, but Cora cooked ours for us. We also had a lot of coconut. That was our main hydration.
Okay. Wow. I've never heard of a milkfish.
No, never heard of that. So how large of a fish?
Fairly small. I mean, they could fit in my two small hands plucking it out, and they're white, milky white. And
Really?
they're not, they're not bad, not bad at all. But a lot of raw fish. We also had, some different carbs, rice and such.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I'll have to put a link in the show notes to a milkfish. Go ahead,
yeah.
Joe.
So we hadn't talked, unless I missed it here, about your radio equipment. You had a
Hmm.
K3 that blew up. So was it all Elecraft equipment?
So our team collectively has a pretty good inventory of equipment. We do, we have enjoyed the generosity of DX Engineering every outing, with for the coax, the connectors, and the tools. And without DX Engineering, we really probably couldn't keep affording to do these projects. So I really want to say thank you to them. We bring our strategy is to bring identical stations, everything identical. We bring on this one, we brought three K3Ss plus my little KX3 to monitor 6 meters.
Mm,
We did bring two flex amps. We brought a KPA 500, and we have early on we tried out what kind of keyboards we all could agree on. They're backlit. We have the same keyboard for every station, the same tilts, the mice, everything, the same pedals, the Radio Sport headsets. Thank you, Radio Sport, for giving us some good deals to equip our team. And then the bandpass filters.
Wow. I
yeah,
wish I had a dollar for every the expedition we've talked to where they said DX engineering was just critical
yeah,
or we couldn't have done this. And it's a reoccurring theme and they do so much for ham radio and even though a lot of us, you try to acknowledge it, you stop by the booth and they just do more and more. So
yeah.
they're just terrific.
We had a
Um,
podcast, what was it, 2 weeks ago with the boys that's on Bangladesh
yep,
now, Bill,
yep,
and DX Engineering was super, super good to them, and they were very appreciative of it.
yep.
So,
Yeah, it was critical to them.
yeah, good
Um,
company.
all things considered, if I did this right on Club Log, you worked about 21,000. You had 21,000 Qs. So when you look back on I mean, if you'd have been there 11 days and worked 20,000, you'd have been like, okay, what did we do wrong? I would think. But all things considered, you still must feel pretty good about that.
Well, yes, we feel good about, well, every DXpedition knows what they're up against, right? You
Yep.
know what you're doing. They don't, except for the other people who have been on DXpeditions. They have a pretty good idea. But most of the people are kind of sitting back and really don't read the press. They don't read DX Daily. They don't really know. We felt good about what we accomplished. We knew what we accomplished and how hard it was. Rob and 7QT feels we could have done about 60,000, which was about par for our H44 outing. And that was kind of what we were expecting, had things gone more our way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. It's funny because as I think when we talked before we got started, I can remember being in the basement and not being able to work somebody and just getting so frustrated. It's like, why aren't they more focused on 30 meters or why aren't they more focused on CW? And through Joe and Jay, K4ZLE, and some other folks, and then this podcast, we had one ham who was operating in Russia, and the police showed up and took him away for a little bit of time. We've heard other guys that have had to pay exorbitant amounts and weren't even sure that they would be able to leave the country. Joe had a DXpedition where a guy who was on blood thinners without their knowledge cut himself. And that
Mm.
was a problem. And you hear about all these. I mean, even the Bouvet a number of years ago, once that kind of was debriefed, I mean, those guys weren't sure they were going to get out of there on that boat. So the stuff that you got, you ladies, of course, but all of you hams are willing to do so that I can get them in the log. I am really appreciative of that. And I always encourage everybody, I mean, if everybody you worked kicked in $20, right? So if you had, let's say out of 21,000, you had 10,000 uniques, that would be 200 grand. Did I do
yeah,
the math right? Yeah. So all of us kicking in $20, and that's what we try to encourage everybody. Just $10, $20, just help them out, right? So
It's not meant to be a profit-making thing. We don't want to make that much. We don't want that much coming in because we're not here for profit. It's just a
Yeah.
hobby,
yeah.
for sure. Um,
Can you
But
tell me? Go ahead,
but the
Joe.
average person, Robin, since you and I have been on a lot of D expeditions, the average person that we talk to on a D expedition have no idea what we go through to get there, set up, tear down. You get hurt. It goes on and on and on. It is definitely not a party.
Let me tell you what you know, a couple of regrets. One regret is that we weren't able to fulfill our goal for Europe. What we normally do, the first 4 days, we just work everybody. We don't call for continents. We try to get the big guns established in the log because a lot of them just want to get established so we can hear them when we get to 160, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that's right.
true.
You're right.
Yeah.
And then, we're so close to Japan. We have the Japanese wall. And I actually love working Japanese CW. I just think the call signs are fun. But we were just about to make the transition to calling for EU, to give them their turn and to let others stand by. And then the fire happened, and they were so mad. We had a lot of complaints, but we couldn't fulfill it.
Yeah.
Which is one reason we're glad that we don't ask for money from clubs or foundations. We do ask for anybody, based on our reputation or they're needing us or betting that we're going to be a good deliverer of QSOs. We ask for $10 before the DXpedition for unlimited, QSLs.
Sure.
And Tim Beaumont, M0URX, has been a fabulous QSL manager and really actually supported us with his dollars this time too.
Wow,
Um, so
that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. Did I have a presentation with your club maybe a year ago?
it's the Western Washington DX
Yeah, I
Club.
I just have this feeling you and I talked before, and the only thing I can think of was that. Um, but the reason I asked that is that everything I've read about, can you tell us about the club a little bit? Because as I went down the who's who's, I mean, Swadexa, we have our who's who's, and I'm in the Twin City DX Club, and they have a great group. Northern Illinois is a great group, but boy, I went down your list, and it's kind of like the who's who on the mid or west coast. So, can you tell us a little bit about your club? Is anybody welcome to join? And
Oh
um,
yes, we have members from all over the world. It's a pretty big club. I think we have about 170 plus members.
Wow.
And a lot of de-expeditioners, a lot of people who have de-expeditioned in the past. We have Danny, K7SS. We have members who were right there at the beginning organizing Ward, the WRTCs, and we've got Rusty, W6OAT.
oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yep.
We have quite a who's who in our club, and they're just all great guys and respectful. There's not many women,
Well,
but
Yeah.
I'm able to enjoy my hobby just like anybody else.
Sure.
that's
Sure.
great.
And
Be
mhm,
sure,
I'm gonna have to check them out because it's a very impressive group. Go ahead, Joe.
mhm.
be sure and tell Rob, uh, for many, many years, Janet and I, my wife, we always had a DX party here of people that I had been on D expeditions with, and then we start getting other DXers involved. And Rob's been to my house to my party.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said many times tonight, he is just one great guy. So be sure
Yes,
and
he
tell him
is.
that I said hello.
He is very well liked. He's really a people person. I
Yes.
believe Jack N7JP came to your party once.
Well,
Uh,
usually we always had about 50.
mhm.
So it's a pretty good time.
And at
Good
least 30
food.
of at least 30 of them left standing up, if I remember.
Yeah.
Um,
Right. I didn't think there was that many.
well, maybe not. Maybe I'm off. So we have a podcast scheduled with Violetta, Kilo November 2 Papa, and Steve, W0 Zulu Bravo, I believe, about the club's upcoming DXpedition to Tokalu, Zulu Kilo 3 in November of 26. Will you be a part of that?
I will. So Rob and Jean Spinelli are sort of co-organizing, co-leading that. And Rob invited us. And after Violetta did such a great job and proved herself, both as an operator and someone who is very comfortable with discomfort and working hard, you'll possibly find out more about her, that she's a fascinating person. So we'll be joining members of Jean's group,
Okay.
and this will be my first outing with a larger team internationally. Um, uh, People like from various places, very well known, very excellent operators. I'm really hoping to learn a lot about improving my own operating habits and skills.
Wow.
Yeah, good.
And I don't know when the last time I heard Tokalu on, but it's been a while. So there should be a pretty serious demand, I would think.
Well, I believe it was 2019 and Rob was on that
Oh,
DXpedition.
okay.
Oh, really? I
Yes.
I know Gene, and he's a very, very good organizer. Yeah, I like
I
Gene.
think he's top of the line. I think he's the
Yes.
best project manager we've got. Um, I'm just so happy I don't have to do that role this time. Oh, I'm so happy.
Take a break.
Oh
I
yeah.
bet if you told him though you felt left out, you wanted to help, Gene would let you.
Well, I do. I volunteered to go help pack and inventory, and I'll probably be unpacking and putting stations together when we get there.
And
Yeah.
that's the part that I've learned from Joe so much is that I mean when you're inventorying everything. So we got to have this many coax and feet of
Hmm.
coax and this many stations, and we need muffler clamps. Let's just take them along. Let's take
Hmm.
extra tools, and just to put the whole thing together is just it's just crazy. I just it's just hard to picture
Yeah.
and how they would do that. But so I also saw that in March of 27. VP0 Sugar Golf, South Georgia. Might you be involved in that?
Absolutely not. I am
Oh,
no, no. Um, I am a warm weather person, not a cold weather person, and I mean, I certainly wasn't invited. I believe that Violetta was, and
Oh,
Rob gave that team, a thumbs up. Of course they called and asked him, and he said, "Yep, she's good for it."
yeah.
And she's a very brave young woman. She is intrepid, joyfully so. It was fun.
and
That's
she's in her
good.
mid-20s, something like that.
21,
Oh
barely
wow.
21.
Really?
You should
Yes.
yeah if you have you should check out it's KN2P. Look at her QRZ.com. What she's been able to accomplish in 21 years is crazy. Good for
Well, I
her.
believe she's going to be off to Honduras if she's not already there. I think a group of them are running a station for the contest coming up.
Oh, the HQ 9 or whatever
I'm
it is. Yeah. Okay.
pretty sure, pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Well, we're excited to
I,
have them on. So go ahead, Joe.
mhm.
I thought I heard you say
No.
something. Well, did I miss anything, George? George, good Lord. I'm
Yes.
looking at South Georgia right here. Did I miss
My
anything,
my
Joe?
new name is my new name is George.
Well, yeah, as long as you answer, it really doesn't matter what I call you.
What's my mother going to think of this?
Yeah.
No, No, we went right down the list. We did very good. Robin, you did excellent.
Boy, it was very enjoyable. My
Very
goodness.
informative. Yes.
Anything else
Thank
you
you.
wanted to touch on or reiterate or stress or?
Well, I think we covered it pretty good.
All right. All
But thank
right.
you very much for the opportunity.
Oh,
I'm really happy to promote the DX Club, DX Engineering. Thank the Step IR guys, our QSL manager, Tim, Radio Support. We get a lot of support. I mean, you can't do any of this without the support of the entire ham community. All the
Yes.
people that, put in money in advance. Hopefully they all got their
Yes.
QSOs.
right, right. And then when you
Yeah.
throw in Elecraft and certainly ICOM
Elecraft,
and like
yep.
Flex with
Yeah.
Sable Island now with the new Auroras that they're
Hmm.
testing out up there and the
Hmm.
antenna manufacturers. I mean, it's really a great part where everybody gets to come together and try to promote something. So,
Hmm.
well, I knew I'd enjoy it, and I certainly did. And I
Yeah.
appreciate your time. Let's see, it's 6:47 out there, right? Or 5:47. So you haven't even,
547.
yeah, you haven't
Yeah.
even had dinner yet. So you're sitting out with us and going through all this, and we absolutely appreciate it. It's been a pleasure, and
Be-
I'd love to have you on again after one of these other DXpeditions.
Sure. Tell us how you made out.
Absolutely.
What burned up?
I think it's better you had us after so we could talk about the fire. I think that's way more interesting than it would have been as we were preparing.
Yeah.
And again, it's none of these are guaranteed. And I don't care if you're going, off the shore of Florida to the Florida Keys or you're going to Bouvet, none of this is guaranteed. And the other factor that I am always amazed at is that for you to go somewhere, you're taking 3, 4, 5 weeks off of work, off of family, the expense, and then you get back and you've got all. But the one thing I never thought of. Joe's wife told me when he got back from, was it Swains where you had the unbelievable heat, Joe? Was it
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
She said when he got back from Swains, he was never the same.
Never.
And what Joe pointed out to me was, well, you got to remember, you have water on the beach, but the water's 102 degrees because it's not like you can put it anywhere.
Yeah.
And he said, and then he told me the hardest part is you've been at this for 12 days. You're exhausted because you can't sleep during the day. You can't sleep at night. And now you got to tear everything down. And you just can't put it all in a box. You got to tear it down correctly. And and to me, that's just something I never ever considered. So I'm a lot more, I'm to the point now, if I don't work somebody because I didn't put enough of time, that's my fault. It's not their fault at all. I should have done better. And I just let it go because there's just so much that you all go through. Joe, go ahead.
And we talk so much about going on a trip, or in this case with Robin, after the trip. And what most people we talk very little about, is it takes a year to recover because you if you don't have a QSL manager, the team has to do the QSL cards. You got to get all the equipment back in shape. You have to ship it back to the suppliers that loaned it to you. And it takes at least a year to plan a trip. And it seems like at least a year to wind down.
Hmm.
So it's a lot of hard work.
It is
Most
a lot of
people
hard
don't
work.
want to do this.
No. And
Yeah.
and thank you both for doing it. My log certainly appreciates it. So,
Yeah.
well,
Be
again,
sure and
Robin,
tell, be sure and tell Gene and Rob I said hello, Robin. Please.
Very good, I will.
and Robin, thank you so much for your time and you're very gracious and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I know our
Yeah.
listeners and viewers will enjoy it as well. So
Yeah. Thank you very much.
thank you very
Thank
much.
you. It was a
Uh-huh.
pleasure.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
I really enjoyed this conversation with Robin, and I hope that you did as well. We often talk of the challenges and perils that these DXpeditioners face, and Robin gave several examples. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the DX Mentor. If you're enjoying these DX Mentor episodes, please hit the subscribe button so that you won't miss an episode. I would like to thank our sponsors, ICOM America, the DailyDX, and DX Engineering. You won't find anyone more committed to DX than these sponsors. I would also like to thank my guests today, Robin, Whiskey Alpha 7 Charlie Papa Alpha, and Joe, WAGEX. I would especially like to thank you, our listeners and viewers. Without you, there would be no reason to do this. I would love to have your feedback, answer your questions, and provide help with any DX or amateur radio issues that you may have. If you need clarification on something or you just have a question, email me at TheDXMentor@gmail.com. Please drop me a line if you have achieved an all-time new one, received recognition, or have a DX event you would like us to mention. We would be happy to do that. Remember, you can get weekly updates on DX activities every Saturday morning via the This Week in DX podcast and YouTube episodes. They both drop around 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, you can catch the DX Mentor weekly show on W2PHradio.com, the only internet radio station dedicated to ham radio. 7-3 for this episode. Thanks to my XYL Karen for her love and support. I hope to see you in the pileups.